Welcome to Living Your Path. I am Cecile Ferry, a coach and astrologer. I'm here to guide you on how to live and work in alignment with your true self so you can find fulfillment and serenity. Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome to your cosmic catch-up for week commencing the 20th of October. It's a big week, astrologically speaking, so I have a lot to cover with you today, and this may be a slightly longer update. So we start the week, like I covered already last week because it started forming on the weekend, with a conjunction between Mars and Mercury in Scorpio. So that is still very much at play on the Monday and for the next couple of days, but you might really feel it on Monday. And so we have the planet of action and power that is tightly united with the planet of words and thoughts and communication. And they're both in the sign of Scorpio, which is a sign about truth, depth, and transformation. It really means that right now you might really see what needs to be said at a very deep level. So that is actually very healing, potentially. And this may be really the time to say what you've been meaning to say, what you've been seeing. But also, it might be a little confronting for the person receiving what you've got to say. So just be very mindful to not cut too deep because of that double Scorpio energy. On Tuesday, and that's where I want to spend most of the time for the update this week, we have a new moon. It is happening at 28 degrees Libra. It will take place at 8:25 a.m. in New York, in London at 1:25 p.m. and in Australia at 11:25 p.m. And so this is the first new moon in the new lunation cycle following eclipse season. So yay, I am personally very excited about kind of closing the eclipse chapter for the year. And that's not to say the effect of the eclipse ends. Absolutely not. There have been new things coming up to light for you in your life. You may have already seen them, but maybe you haven't yet, but that doesn't mean they're not happening. They're just taking time to unfold. So that process even will take a couple of more weeks and months. However, this kind of means astrologically, it should be a more quote-unquote normal time in terms of the moon cycles and a time where we can really set intention at the new moon. So it is in Libra, and we also have Venus in Libra at the same time. So it is going to be about relationships. It is the opportunity for you to start over or to do something over, set a new intention to better your relationship. And I'm talking any one-on-one relationship, whether it's romantic, it's a business partnership, it's a close friendship that you have. This being a new moon, it's the opportunity for a new start, a new beginning. So potentially, if you're single, you might meet somebody. And have a look if you know on your chart where is 28 degrees of Libra, because that is where those relationships would be playing. Now, it's not a just straightforward new moon, like, oh, eclipse season is over, we just set new intentions. That sounds great. Unfortunately, there are more things in the background that I need to tell you about. So it's a bit of a loaded new moon. There's a lot going around it in the sky in terms of aspects. So I'm going to talk about three things. The first one is it is opposite Chiron, which is the planet of wounding and healing. And so that means that the new moon might shine a light on a part of ourselves, because it's in Aries, where we have been wounded and maybe we haven't healed that wound yet. So we might feel extra sensitive on Tuesday. There may be a situation that triggers us and triggers that wound again. Number two, this new moon, so the moon and the sun are together in Libra, are forming a square with Jupiter. So it's not entirely bad, but it means there may be a bit of extra expansion coming from Jupiter and really pushing us towards self-care and emotional nourishment of ourselves and other people. And this may clash with the desire for harmony in our relationships under the new moon in Libra. So watch if there's a bit too much, because it's really hard to do both really well. So you may find that internal pull between the two around Tuesday. Thirdly, and I personally really like that aspect, there is a grand trine in the water signs. So we have those 3 planets that are forming a triangle in the sky, and that is positive flow of energy. So we have Jupiter in Cancer, Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, Saturn in Pisces. What this means is, in terms of the flavor, at the same time of the new moon, it means a lot of emotions going around and circulating, a lot of intuition flowing, and a lot of healing. So, you might feel extra emotional, especially if you have a lot of placement in the water signs on your chart. But if we add those 3 corners of the triangle, it's care plus powerful words plus spiritual healing. I think that's a beautiful combination. And as we are looking at, healing, starting something new in our relationship, that's a beautiful added boost of emotional flow to do this. So I feel like we're going to be supported by that grand tri energy. And finally, when the new moon is happening, Neptune is at 0 degrees of Aries, which is like the very first point of the zodiac belt. And I think that's a beautiful symbol of new beginning, an ultimate new start. So I would say dream big under this new moon, because there are a lot of possibilities. There's good emotional flow, maybe a bit too big if we let Jupiter take us over, and we may feel sensitive with that wound. It's a beautiful opportunity for healing ourselves in our relationship or in healing the relationship themselves. And so maybe it's the time to have that conversation that you've been wanting to have. So overall, I think it's a positive time, good opportunity to start over and to build something new for more harmony and more beauty in our relationships. The next day, on Wednesday, Neptune, which has been retrograde for a couple of months, is now going to tick over back into Pisces at the last degree of Pisces, 29 degrees. So it's in its own sign. It's very much at home. It's like the same kind of energy. Neptune is moving back into Pisces for a last hooray, and it will exit it for good in January 2026 and move into Aries for the next 13 years. So if you like, this is our last little taste of Neptune in Pisces for a very, very long time. What that means, I want to say it's both good and bad, so I'm going to give you both sides so you are prepared. And anyway, we were already in that energy across March, April, May in particular this year, so you might remember how you felt. I personally remember I was feeling like a very floating, dreamy energy. Like I really felt that fluidity, because it's like double fluidity between those two energies. So on the positive side, this is a time for dreamy energy, great for creative and artistic inspiration, and great spiritual connection as well. Connection with the outer world, and all the way to psychic, but definitely a great time for intuition. So listen to your intuitive hits, because they will abound, definitely at 29 degrees Pisces. Now, because Pisces energy dissolves everything, that might also mean that there is a certain fog or clouding happening, because it's not grounded. It's not earthy at all. It's up there in the clouds. So you may feel a little foggy or confused, and you may have less boundaries during that time, because everything is kind of up in the air, dissolved. It's beautiful, but it's up there. So you may need to stay grounded. But the opportunity really is to pay attention to your dreams. They probably carry extra messages for you at that time, and try to not be too much in la la land or being too dreamy or being too much into your spiritual world. However, a great time to get creative if that's part of your life. Okay, not bad for the week so far, but I'm not done. 2 more things. Thursday, big day. The sun is moving into Scorpio. So we are taking over from Libra season into Scorpio season. There's a lot more that I want to say about it, so I will talk more about it next week. However, to give you a little intro, because when the sun goes into Scorpio, it will join the moon, Mars, and Mercury already in it. So that is a lot of Scorpio energy. It's a strong start to the season. So if you are a Scorpio, whether it's sun, moon, or rising, or have lots of planets in Scorpio, you will feel it. And that in a very positive way. You're going to feel more energized. But really quickly, overall, Scorpio is the energy of introspection, honesty, digging deep, transformation, and healing. So not a light season. On Thursday, you must start feeling like all these extra emotional powers, extra intensity, but also extra perceptive abilities. And we will talk about how to use those energies for your life over the next month. And finally, on Saturday, I will mention, because you might feel it, there is a square between the sun in Scorpio at 1 degree with Pluto in Aquarius. It's not the most frictional point because Pluto is Scorpio energy as well. So it will definitely feel deep and intense. But you may feel a pull between the water energy of Scorpio, which is going to be emotional. You will think about your emotional needs and what you want for yourself emotionally. And Pluto in Aquarius is an air sign, and it will be giving you desire for freedom and for innovative ideas. So you might feel kind of pull between, your emotions and your mind around Saturday and the weekend. So I think that is enough to leave you for this week. If you just like thinking, my God, that was too much. Just to simplify, really, the new moon in Libra focus on a reset, a restart in a specific relationship in your life. Enjoy that beautiful grand tri energy in water. And then on Thursday, notice the shift with deep penetrative Scorpio energy. Lots of insight and some exciting weeks coming up for your own personal development. So that is all. It was a longer update, but really pace yourself this week, going through those different transits, and make the most of this new moon. Set your intention and watch it manifest over the next lunar cycle. Take care, everyone. Have a beautiful week, and I will speak to you next week all about Scorpio season. Bye, everyone.